and Yogi.
Great. Jivan, thank you very much, and for all of you in the room today as we sit at this solemn moment to talk about the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits. Let me begin by coming back and saying that this is a bittersweet moment because the voice of a Kashmiri Pandit, in my mind, has been muted for a while. Jivanji, the 90s were years in which I began to submerge myself in understanding how to build a strong political voice for the Indian American community. I vividly remember the idea of the plight of Kashmiri Hindus. And at that moment in time, we were just a small community, fearful in the pursuit of our immigrant dream. But Jivan, people such as you, taught us why it is important to have a voice for the voiceless. And I will come back and tell you one thing, that those moments have been deeply ingrained in my mind, because what I saw at that moment over the years as I've become a champion for human rights, I said, where was the human rights for Kashmiri Hindus? It is a story that was told on the hills of Capitol Hill. The names of Frank Pallot, Sherrod Brown, Ackerman, Ed Royce, these were friends, Solars as well. And those conversations were deep-rooted conversations. They were conversations about a hope that how do we get a voice? And 30 years we have been at many events in which the exodus of the Kashmiri Hindus has been commemorated. There is a new awakening, folks. Human rights, the clarion call in the world has been made. But in that process, let's not forget what has happened to the Kashmiri Hindus in their own country. The opportunity and the responsibility that we have now is not only to commemorate the Exodus Day, but to ensure that we come back and educate our friends, our neighbors, opinion makers. There is a new message, a new narrative that has to be defined, because in the absence of that, remember one thing, in American politics, most things happen not because people have ill intentions. It just so happens that those that are informing them happen to talk about a narrative that may or may not be the narrative that truly reflects what has happened to the Kashmiri Hindus and the Hindu community in Kashmir in general. My appeal to all of you today, let's yearn for what happened, but let's be excited about the fact that there's an opportunity for us to rehabilitate. And there was a conversation somebody made, and I'll close with this, Jivanji, because I think it's important. Somebody said that for the sake of closure, let's make bygones be bygones. Never. History is an indication of the future. And I ask each one of you in this room today that long after this program is over, when you go home, make one phone call, make one conversation with a neighbor, make one conversation with anybody that you know. Help put in perspective the narrative that needs to be told. Human rights is one of the most sacred tenets of America, and human rights is one of the most sacred tenets of India, and for that matter, the world. It is what entices people of good human desires to come back and ask for us to bring equality. The story of Kashmiri Hindus has to be told. Jivanji, thank you so much. I'm pressed for time. I could talk about this all day long, but you have always told with me, you always shared with me, whether it was on the triumphs of the conversations or whether it was going on Capitol Hill or having informed conversations with our members of Congress or even our state legislators, assembly members, or senators, including the White House. You always told me, Yogi, only 2 people may listen, but there's 2 more people than what we had yesterday. So that is the message that we need to talk about. The Exodus should never be forgotten. We must educate, we must inform, we must set the record straight. And then democracies have a unique way of solving its own problems. But we are the solution. Nobody else will do it for us. So with that, Jivan, congratulations, Kashmir Overseas Association. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, I did forget that